Skyboat Media presents The Quarry series, books 7 through 9. The Last Quarry, The First Quarry, and Quarry in the Middle by Max Allan Collins. These books are read by Stefan Rudnicki. The Last Quarry by Max Allan Collins. For Jeffrey Goodman, who brought my killer to life. Any victim demands allegiance. Graham Greene. Chapter 1. It had been a long time since I'd had any trouble sleeping. Not since the fucking shelling was keeping me awake a lifetime or two ago. I'm not by nature an insomniac. You might think killing people for a living would give you some bad nights. Truth is, guys in the killing biz just aren't the type to be bothered. I was no exception. I hadn't gone into retirement because my conscience was bothering me. I retired because I had enough money put away to live comfortably without working, so I did. And for a while that retirement had gone well. I'd invested a little and was living off the gravy. I'd even been married for a while, which had worked out fine. For a while. Currently, I was deposited in an A-frame cottage with a deck onto the frozen expanse of Sylvan Lake somewhere in Minnesota, only it's not called Sylvan Lake, and maybe it's not Minnesota either. I was staying at the only resort on this side of the lake, Sylvan Lodge, but I was not a guest. I ran the place. Or anyway, did when it wasn't off-season. Once upon a time, I had owned a resort in Wisconsin, not unlike this. Not near the acreage, of course, and not near the occupancy, but I had owned the place, whereas here I was just the manager. Of course, I didn't have anything to complain about. I was lucky to have the job. When I ran into Gary Peterson in Milwaukee, where he was attending a convention and I was making a one-night stopover to remove some emergency funds from several bank deposit boxes, I was at the loosest of loose ends. The name I'd lived under for over a decade was unusable. My past had caught up with me back at Paradise Lake, where everything went to hell in an instant. My straight business yanked from under me. My wife, who had not a clue of my prior existence, murdered in her sleep. Gary, however, had recognized me in the hotel bar and called out a name I hadn't used since the early 70s, my real one. "Jack," he said, only that wasn't the name. For the purposes of this narrative, however, we'll say my real name is Jack Keller. "Gary," I said, surprised by the warmth creeping into my voice. "You son of a bitch, you're still alive." Gary was a huge man, 6'6", weighing...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?